Superman and Lois,
Yep.
which we had actually talked about at one point about being a very interesting name, a leading name. It's not Clark and Lois, it's not Kal-El and Lois, it's Superman and Lois. So it's going to be a different kind of show.
Hmm.
And the first episode showed us that something uh, that it was going to be showed us what that was going to be, perhaps, at least a reflection of it. The first episode, you never know, it might evolve a little bit more, but it started
I'm
off with
sure it
something I think we weren't expecting. But
definitely,
let's break
definitely.
down the CW DCU because I feel like a lot of shows start strong
Mm.
and they don't follow through. At least for me, haven't followed through. I know you're hung
I'm still
on
a
with a lot of
huge
shows,
fan, so but
um,
he's
but
around.
for me, let's break it down. We'll start with the flagship Arrow. I liked that show to begin with, but I think I dropped off around season 5 or season 6. It got too many times. I was watching that show through a face palm, and I, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I was like, "What are you doing? Killing me here! You're killing me!" So I just had to give up, and I felt way
Here's
better
the one
afterwards. I
thing.
was like, "I'm getting stressed from this show. I don't need."
I
Uh,
don't mean to interrupt you, but can I quickly say one thing about
yeah,
Arrow that I noticed
please
that
do.
I always kind of found amusing? So
Please do.
Arrow's whole thing was he used arrows because he doesn't kill, right? It's kind of like that.
Well, I mean, eventually he doesn't kill. At
But
first,
he
he's like, "Let me
teams.
kill
Okay,
everyone.
sure, sure. But when he
Let me
makes
do
a
all
decision,
the killing."
okay, sure. But when he makes a decision that he's no longer going to kill anyone,
When he becomes Green Arrow.
right? He's still apparently fine with other people on his team killing people, right? Like,
I
there's this one character who literally uses guns. And he's like, I'm not, it's against my code to
doesn't
kill
he use
people, but if
rubber
you
bullets
want
though?
to, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop
Doesn't
you.
he? Doesn't he use the comic book version of rubber bullets, which do
I,
no real damage?
I,
I thought that's
I,
what the thing was.
if they do, I don't remember them ever addressing that in the show.
Okay,
So
I
I
thought
just always, that was always like, and I paid attention because I always thought that was funny. It's like, what? Anyway,
um,
sorry.
I'll still never forgive that show for not calling Felicity Oracle. They didn't have to not do it. They could have just done it. Why not?
Well, they,
Why not?
because they couldn't have at the time Arrow came out.
Whatever.
Because of the
There's gonna
whole
be just a few more
embargo,
oracles.
which thank God that's over with now. But
Overwatch.
anyways,
Ooh, Overwatch. Ooh, hiss, hiss. Where's code name? Where's code name?
true. They could have at least called her Oracle. That they probably could have
That's all I'm
gotten away
saying.
with. But
All I'm saying. They could have given her that. For Felicity.
mm,
Anyway, yeah. So I gave up on that show. I know you stuck through the whole thing, right?
I did.
I came back for the miniseries, and I was really interested in that future version
Oh my
that they
God,
were
so good.
putting out. I thought the characters were interesting. They really were really compelling. I dug the idea of a female-led show.
Hmm. The whole
That
dynamic between her and her
yeah,
brother is.
yeah,
I know we already talked about this, but I unfortunately wasn't picked up on that episode.
yeah,
Was
yeah.
one of
It
those.
wasn't.
So,
So
but it was a very
unfortunately,
interesting. It kind of had a Batman Beyond flavor. Plus, I
yeah.
said there, but it wasn't picked up, so I'm going to say it again here, and hopefully the volume's being recorded this time. Um, that I'm a big fan of that actress, dating back from her old show that she used to be on. So I am so
What old show was
disappointed.
that?
Shadowhunters.
Okay.
So I'm so disappointed that didn't go to series. But anyways,
All right. And let's see. Then we'll go with Flash, which
hmm
one of the few shows that I've stuck with the whole time. I haven't liked any season but the first, but there's as I think I mentioned before, there's a sort of a Silver Age comic book charm to it all that
definitely.
pushes most of you through. I like the characters enough, even though I feel Felicity's. Did I just say Felicity? I meant
You did.
what's her name? Frost.
Iris. Oh, okay, sure.
No, not Frost. The other one. um, Frost's
Iris.
alter ego, Katie. I feel
Okay.
like Katie is getting suppressed by Frost.
Well,
Like
Katie and
her
Frost are
character.
kind of they're like Hulk and Banner in that show, right?
Yeah, I guess, but I just feel like there's been more focus on Frost. Although the actress is still getting the job done, so it doesn't really matter who she plays. But I just feel like I miss a little more Katie.
Mm.
Anyway, and I love Cisco. It's just a fun show, even though it's terrible. The only season that really got me back into it for a little bit was when um, Nora Excess
Hmm.
came on the show,
Now,
and I
is
was
she in the
real.
comics? Access,
I'm
is
a
that
lead.
a pre-existing
I
character?
was gonna. You're leading me right to where I'm going.
Okay.
Uh,
Awesome.
I'm a big I'm a big fan of the Legion of Superheroes, and Excess was a character originated there, although her under a different name, person, code name.
Okay.
Um, not code name, different persona.
Hmm.
The Excess persona was someone else in the Legion comics of the 90s.
So she wasn't
Um,
like Iris and Barry's daughter in that.
no, she was their
Was she related to the
granddaughter.
Flash family?
Their granddaughter. She was
Oh, okay.
because there was in that future, right? They have twins. Um,
Right. Yes. Son and a daughter, I believe. Right.
yeah,
Who both become
and
speedsters. Yeah.
there's one is a daughter from or the child from the other group, or something to do
Okay.
with that, or maybe even further down the line.
But she's still
You
related.
know,
It's not.
yeah,
Okay.
somehow a cousin to Bart. She's somehow
Sure.
Bart's cousin.
All
Um,
right.
and she was a character which was interestingly like during when they destroyed that whole continuity after Final Crisis or Infinite Crisis, one of those crises.
Flashpoint.
They got rid of the standard post 80s crisis universe and created like a new universe, just a little new. You know what I mean?
You're talking about
When
the 52.
no, before New 52.
Oh.
So like
Okay.
right before that reboot, when the universe was slightly changed by
Okay.
when like Superboy punched the wall
Of
of
reality.
infinite love and everything.
Uh-huh.
Uh, when he punched the Omniverse
Right.
in
Don't,
the
don't don't
face,
don't you hate it when someone just goes ahead and punches reality really really hard?
yeah,
It just
so
ruins
he punched
everything.
and so like what happened during that is they erased that legion of superheroes, but they kept characters they liked. And
Okay.
Excess was one of those characters. She stayed on to the into the next iteration of that main universe over at DC. Um, she, like I said, she wasn't Nora, um, but I was already like on board for the idea of Excess, so I was ready for that. And the actress who played Nora, I think she was completely charming. She made me really like the show again, like I had in the season one. Then her being leaving the show was a real sad. I thought she would maybe stick around or even come back.
I'm sure she'll
Uh,
come back at some point. I mean, that's the thing
I
with
hope
those
so
characters
because
from the
I really
future.
dug
It's
her. I thought I really dug her like wide-eyed view of it felt like me watching the show in season one.
yeah,
So now I was a character on the show, which was
wide-eyed
now it was
enthusiasm
great.
and all of that.
It
Yeah,
was
agreed.
great. Like, she was awesome. I just really enjoyed that whole thing. But yeah, I just feel like they're doing the same thing on that show every season, and it just gets a little tiresome. But I'm sticking with it, and I think I will for a little while longer at least.
Unlike
Supergirl,
Supergirl.
yes, we're going. We got the same thought paradigm.
Love it when
DC,
that happens.
you. Yes, Supergirl jumped all the sharks for me when she had that just like face cringy moment. Like, I can't even describe it. Like my
Mhm.
whole being cringed
Sun in
when
the
I saw
grass.
that scene.
Yeah, me too.
And I at first, and the terrible thing about it is at first I thought the actress playing her sister had lost her mind.
That
Like
was
she goes,
me too. I mean, it's funny you should
she
say that.
goes,
That was my
there's
voice reaction
sun in
too.
the grass, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, this actress is bringing it. And then
She's
she's like, nope,
completely flipped
I'm
her
gonna take
lid.
that as literal and just take this
Uh-huh.
as a movie. I was like, no, no, just don't do this. Don't. It was so painful to
I'm
watch
gonna do
that I
it.
was just like, ah. And then from that point on, I was like, I'm done after this season. I think there was like one half of an episode or an episode left. I was like, it's over for me.
Which
I
is
thought season one
unfortunate.
of, but yeah, season one of, even though it's not really fair to call it a CW show, since it started on uh, CBS, and
Was
season one was so much better, I think, than the CW seasons.
well,
Um,
Calista Flockhart, right? I mean,
yeah, and I'm not saying this as a Calista Flockhart fan. I honestly have never really seen her perform in many things. I never watched any of her TV shows or anything like that. I think I might have caught her in a movie or something, but I was aware of her. She's sort of a popular actress for a while anyway, and she just inhabited the body of or the consciousness, the characterization of Cat Grant in a way that I think will make her iconic in that role. I was so into what she was doing in that. I felt like, wow, you're the best badass boss
mhm.
mentor I've seen in a while, and she did she did all the things that she needed to do. What is it, season six now? 6 seasons on, I'm still talking about her one season performance on the show, and they're still bringing her back. I think the last season I watched, she had a cameo in like a small press conference where she was, I don't know, president of the Earth or something at this point. She's just doing amazing
No,
things.
that's not of the Earth, but the president is played by an equal female powerhouse. The original Wonder Woman.
I thought she got killed.
I think she did. You're right.
Anyway, so I'm just saying that it was a really memorable performance, and even though the season one had its faults, I felt like it really it took some big swings, and it really really did well. There was just so many turns when it came to CW that were just, I don't know, unfortunate.
Well, you
Like,
still have one to go.
yeah. I don't, I've got more than one to go. But like, yeah. So there were just so many turns. Anyway, that being said, I stuck with Supergirl because of all the love that season one gave to the character, to the performances, to the um, mythos,
And can I just
to the
say that
world.
I love Melissa Benoist
Oh, she is
as
the
Kara, as Supergirl.
embodiment.
She's such a perfect embodiment of that character, I feel like.
Yeah, she was fantastic. But yeah, so like I said, I gave up on that show. You're still sticking with it again.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, what's next?
I mean, just really quickly. So, Supergirl is interesting in that I definitely feel you. That it's had like ups and downs, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster. And that was a really bad season, the one you're talking about. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
still
how.
think that they should have had a
I don't know
Legion show.
how you do an adaptation of Red Sun and screw it up, but they
I
did.
don't I don't know why they didn't call her Galatea or something to
Sure,
give some
sure.
connection to other comic book
But
mythos. I don't know
then
why so many things happened on that show. I don't know
then
why
they
there
brought
wasn't a
in
Legion spinoff.
then they brought in John Cryer as Lex Luthor, and oh my god, that show is so amazing again.
Uh, all I want to say is, um, I just I just can't get over the fact that John Cryer played his own nephew in the Superman
Superman
movie.
3, yeah.
So I'm not sure I could get behind that too much. But again, I only saw
Oh,
it for a
I'm
short
so far
time.
behind that.
I did think the Mrs. Tessmacher reveal
Mm.
was what's the word?
Interesting.
Uh, no, um,
Oh, you didn't like that reveal.
I hated it. I thought it was
Okay.
reductive. They had taken this character, Mrs. Tessmacher, who was like in the comic book world, was
I just
basically
remember
sort of
her
a
from the
stooge
movie.
of Lex, one of his followers, one of his like just
Yeah.
minions, and they made her into a rounded, interesting woman who had a strength of her own, who under her Lux's sister's tutelage supposedly became a good independent, and they just tore all of that characterization apart and just brought her down to she's just a girl after a boy who's being played like the simpleton she is, and it was just insulting to the audience, to that character, to that actress. It was
I
just one of the
okay.
worst things I could possibly. My eyes, they were like if I was Superman, the screen would have exploded in like my laser beams flying out of my because I'd be like so mad. I'd be like, why, why? No, there's so many
So
things
not a
about
fan.
Supergirl in the last couple of seasons that just made me mad, and I'm gonna say it again. I don't know why they didn't do a Legion spinoff.
So,
That why did they bring the Legion in if not to spin them off in their own show, or
so
to
what
at
if
least after Supergirl ends to give us Supergirl and the Legion of superheroes. The
they
series
might?
ends.
So
They might. I hope they do. The
what about
series ends.
Black
She jumps
Lightning?
through a wormhole into the future, and then we get to see an entire series in the future with her in
There you
space
go.
adventures. I mean, it can't be any worse than Star Trek. Like, if boom, I would watch that. Um, but yeah, I don't. It's just that show.
Mm.
Mm. Okay. Do you want to say anything more about Supergirl? Or can we move on to
I mean, I
Legend?
enjoy it. I'm a fan,
All
but
right.
I also enjoy Black
Well,
Lightning. So you know.
Black Lightning is the only show that I've stuck with the whole time. I've loved every season more than the season prior. I've not loved everything they've done. I think they stuck on with a couple of things a little too long and didn't get to explore some other stuff that I wanted them to, and kind of ended some other things a little fast. But overall, I think it is one of the greatest, the best things that CW has done as superhero wise. And this is its last season, which
It
I'm
is.
very sad about. After it's off the air, there's going to be very small representation for black heroes on television, I believe,
I can think
live
of.
action anyway.
I can think of at least one. That's like
I can only
Arrowverse
think of one.
related.
I can only think of Batwoman, which is
Yep.
another show. But like we've got, it's a new character. We still haven't established her strength and value. And I'm not saying she's not going to be strong and valuable. I've watched the first couple episodes of the new Batwoman, and I think that this character fits the role. Maybe not the role because she's creating a new character, but I mean fits the mantle of Batwoman a lot better than the last actress. I felt she was a little too stiff. When I did watch, I did give her the that show, the 4 episode test. We'll jump right into it since there's nothing bad to say about um, Black Lightning. We can only say good things. I wish it kept going. We can move into. Oh wait, there is something. You said there might be a spinoff of Black Lightning.
Yeah. So the producer of Black Lightning, she's trying to get a spin-off based on Painkiller into a series, and if that does go to
Oh,
series, Thunder and Lightning, the two daughters of Black Lightning, will also be prominent characters in that spin-off. She has said. So
well,
here's
I would
hoping that
actually have
happens.
preferred if Thunder and Light. I would actually prefer if just Thunder and Lightning got their own series called Thunder and Lightning. Two strong, amazing female women of color leading a superhero show. We need that right now, bro. We do have Batwoman, so but I mean I love Thunder and Lightning. I'd love to see more of them and see more of their adventures. That would
Me
be
too.
cool.
Me too.
Leave town. Join the Outsiders. Create the Outsiders.
I still, you know, they brought in
Um,
several other characters from the Outsiders. I'm still like waiting for that
Hey,
to happen.
I can watch Thunder and Lightning get together with Red Arrow and a couple other like characters from other CW shows, and we create the Outsiders and have some Outsider adventures.
There you go.
I would give that a shot for a couple episodes and see how I liked it.
Me too. This sounds like a good
Um,
show.
yeah, right. Anyway, so we'll jump into Batgirl now. The only other you know, person of color leading a superhero adventure show on television that I can think of, top of my head. I might be wrong. I'm only talking about America too. So if other countries have superhero shows, I'm not necessarily excluding you, but we're talking about English speaking
Certainly
America,
within
maybe
the
Canada,
certainly within
maybe
the
UK.
Arrowverse.
Yeah. Oh well, right now we're definitely talking about the Arrowverse. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just talking about in general. Anyway, so yes, um, we have next is Batwoman. Like I was saying, I didn't think the original actress, um, well, she might have been what the detachment that they thought the character needed. I just felt she was flat. I just felt I couldn't get involved. I mean, Ollie was detached and mean to everyone, but he also was charming, and I was like, despite like being like, oh, you're a dick to everyone, I still felt like I was interested in finding out why Ollie was this way and what was going on. But with
Right.
Batwoman, I was just like, I feel like one, a lot of the stories felt like the Arrow stories. Like I was just rewatching rehashed Arrow stories, and two, I just wasn't connecting with what they were throwing down. And I'm not a particular fan or a non-fan of the character in comics. I just haven't read a lot of her stories, so I would not, be able to say either way. But I gave it a shot. I just wasn't for me. But this new girl, I gave her first two episodes ago as Batwoman in season 2. I didn't really know what the hell was going on,
Sure.
and it was a little confusing.
Understandable
But
not having
I
finished
did,
the
I
first
did
season.
follow enough. Uh, thought it was interesting, and I did think that she just was a lot more sympathetic, a lot more easier to connect with the new Batwoman than the old one, and I would be interested in seeing more of her. But again, she's a new character. We don't know how this show is going to fly.
Yeah. Why
It
didn't
might
you?
not. It might not survive this season if people don't want to get on board with this huge change in the dynamic of the show.
Why didn't you
Whereas again,
give?
Black Lightning is a
Sorry.
show with 3 seasons of character development and characters we know and love. Anyway, I don't know why they're closing it down, but I will be sad to see that show end.
So, just out
Um,
of curiosity, you said that you give
yeah,
shows a 4 episode test run, if you will, but you've only watched the first 2 episodes of the second season of Batwoman. Why?
yeah, I just haven't gotten to the next two. Just
Ah,
haven't got.
okay,
There's
okay.
other things to watch, bro.
But you're still
Uh,
planning on checking them out.
I might. I don't know. Like I usually say, I usually give shows a 4 episode test. But if a show really turns me off early on, I will drop out. But because it's a different kind of thing though with the Arrowverse, because there's this shared universe. There is this sort of pressure to watch all the shows,
Mm.
and if a show's not consistently being interesting enough to want to watch, um, it almost becomes a chore, which is how I felt the Arrow show was for me. I felt like I was going to work every time I had to watch an episode,
Well,
and I
that's
was
not
like,
good.
just to sit there and be like, this is so frustrating. I want to yell at everyone on the show. It became hate watching in the mad, sad way, not in the fun, happy way.
Ah, okay.
Um, yeah, no, it was just not a good experience. So
Well,
that's why I don't want to get caught into one of those with Batwoman.
mm,
Like I said, I might watch 2 more episodes, but there's so many other shows to watch, and as I said before, I've never been into particularly into Batwoman, so I'm not like one of the built-in audience. Like for Flash, when I was a kid, although Wally West redheaded Wally West was my Flash. Ginger West was my Flash. Um, I read a lot of it, so I was in for anything Flash related. And with Supergirl, I read some of that as a kid. I read Superman, even though I wasn't a huge fan of that. I really liked Superboy when I was young. Um, Connor is pretty awesome. But there wasn't. Um, but when you're into certain shows, you're more apt to jump into it. I was hesitant to jump into Black Lightning because the only place I knew Black Lightning from was The Outsider,
Mm.
and not even the original run. I hadn't read that at the time. Well, I have now though, but I only read the return run that Judd Winnick brought back and started from there. Um, so I didn't really know Black Lightning as well as I knew Thunder and Lightning, and those are the
Sure.
characters I was watching Black Lightning for. I was waiting
Okay.
for Thunder and Lightning to get their powers. I was super excited for that whole thing because they ended up being more part of my comic book reading experience growing up
Makes
than the
sense.
older character of Black Lightning. So I was sort of, ready to watch that show, but more for what would come next. Um,
And
and
what did come
uh,
next?
what did come next? What?
To, next came which the 2-hour movie premiere this past week.
Well, we're not there yet. We're not there
Well,
yet. We still have one more
one,
show to do.
two, three.
Did you forget what? There's just too many shows, right?
Yeah. So
CW Universe. This is a show that you love, though, so I'm surprised.
so time out for a second.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna edit this part out. You said that a friend is coming over at 6.
Yeah.
It is now
5.
5:04. We still have yet to even get to Superman and Lois. Plus, we have the new show to do.
All right. Well,
So
let's finish up DC Legends of Tomorrow real quick. You can say you like it. I can say I'm not a huge
a fan, yeah. But we should. I don't. But we should move this along if you have someone coming over in an hour.
Okay. Yeah. We will. All right.
So there's another Arrowverse show, Legends.
Yes, as I was saying, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, a show that I actually gave up on in season 1, episode 13. I'll never forget it. One of those moments where I was watching the show through a face palm. I was like, "Damn it, I just can't do this. You're killing me here."
Also not
But
for
you
you.
stayed on because you said in season 2 it gets better.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of like I would compare it to Agents of Shield, where season 2 on is such an improvement over the majority of the first season. But I feel like that first season lost so many viewers that just never returned that it's a shame. And I don't know. Legends of Tomorrow is getting louder. My echo what is happening.
I don't know.
Legends of Tomorrow is just one of my favorite Arrowverse shows. It's just so much fun.
And I appreciate that you're into it. I like the fact that that John Constantine, the short-lived Hellblazer, what did they call it? John Constantine show? Did they call it Hellblazer?
Constantine.
I don't know what they called it. They called it Constantine? Okay, the short-lived Constantine show got a role on there. I think that was pretty neat. I don't know if he's still on there, but I did think it was cool that he is. I think it was cool that he's on there. I know that actor actually from a British show where he played an American. Funny enough. And
you know what? Who else
so
is?
I was excited to see him.
You know who else is probably a British actor but is playing an American?
Who else is probably a British actor?
Although I don't know this for sure, but Hutchinson seems like a pretty British name. I don't know.
You don't even know. You're making things up. I heard a rumor.
I heard.
rumor has it. What did she say? What did she say? What does rumor say?
I
There's a
heard a
rumor.
rumor.
I had a rumor. Is that what it is?
I heard a rumor.
She should be like rumor has it. I would do rumor has it. Like, rumor has it. That's a way better.
So, Superman and Lois.
Superman and Lois. All right,
Let's do
all right. This is what we've been waiting
it.
for. We started this off talking about Superman and Lois, but we had to break down the CW verse shows. Um, like I said, for me, they all start strong, or most of them do, and I'm excited to see them. But or most of them. But I dropped off most of them as well, only sticking with a handful. And this show, again, started strong, but started strong in a way that I could not believe. I actually feel like maybe these guys who do the CW or and ladies and gals who do the CW shows um, learned something from all the other things that they had done before, because this show felt like it started where other shows end. Like we're seeing this this world of not just Superman being a husband and a father, but being father of teenage twins,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that is unique to this universe, because even in the comics, though it's a new um, uh, development, he is a father, but only to one child. The Superboys, people might know of Superboys of the past have never actually been his children,
His
and in
biological
some cases
kids,
has
yeah.
been him as a child. But now the Superboy of the comic universe, for some people,
Jonathan.
is going to be his own son.
Mm-hmm.
And in the show, it seems like that's what we're aiming for too, is creating a show with like a super family,
Mm-hmm.
not just Superman, which is so much different. I mean, this is almost the anti Smallville. You know,
Very much so,
like
yeah.
the show that was like, we want to stay away from costumes and
If
uniforms and
Smallville was
fun
about the
stuff,
journey
and
from Farm Boy Clark to eventually
yeah,
becoming Superman, Superman and Lois is about what happens after that.
yeah, exactly. It's what happens after the sun sets and
Mm-hmm.
the next day starts, and you have to go through something else. And I think that's a fantastic like point to start for a show in this world we're living in right now.
And we don't
A
really need to
world.
see the story of the farm boy growing up and learning all that stuff. I mean, everybody knows it, right? Like,
Right, and it's sort of like a reverse version though too. His sons are kids who grew up in the city, go into the farm. Well, we
sure,
haven't.
yeah.
We're gonna spoil. As I said many times, this show is all about spoiling. We're 100% spoiling everything all the time. So to
Absolutely.
spoil the end of that episode, um,
So I
the
just wanted to quickly say that, yeah, like Fizz is saying, I absolutely love the movie late premiere. It got the CW its highest viewership rating in over 2 years, and I just thought it was fantastic. I loved how much it was influenced by what Richard Donner did, especially with the first two movies, and the look, the feel, the hope, the enthusiasm, even making like Clark Kent kind of a goofball and fumbling over himself, whereas when he's Superman, he stands up more straight and more postured. It's such a Christopher Reeve thing. And, there was even an Easter egg on a board in the "It's Getting Worse Again" in the kitchen. In the kitchen,
sorry, press that again. My bad.
there's even so I just love the Superman and Lois. I feel like it's so inspired by Richard Donner and Christopher Reeve, which is that enthusiasm, is that hope, and all of that. And they even have the Easter egg of having Call Dr. Donner on the board, and it definitely is the closer you get to the mic with your headset, the more of an echo I become.
I feel you, but I don't know. There's something exciting about a new superhero show, even
Mm.
in this jaded superhero world, over saturated superhero world which we live, right?
Hmm.
I mean, uh, if you told me tomorrow that they were gonna do a brand new superhero show, I'd be like, okay, who's it on? I'll watch it, or I'll give it a shot. Um, and that's how I felt about this. Like, it's something I was totally interested in giving a shot. They backdoor introduced a lot of these things through
Hmm.
the Super Girl series, which we spoke about earlier, and now we're getting a chance to see these things uh, in a different way. It's it's not to say that it's not tropey. It's all full of tropes. Superheroes really are. But tropes are tropes because they usually are tried and true storytelling mechanisms that can help you tell interesting stories. And I feel like what I like about this show is that it's starting in a place where we don't normally go.
Hmm.
It's
Me too.
almost feels a little like you know how when you first start watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine and you go, why does the captain have a kid? And why is this so family oriented? And then by the end of the show, you're like, I love the father son relationship in this show. It's one of the strongest family dynamics in a
I
single
mean,
parent
I
relationship
never
I've
had
ever
that
seen.
question, but I get I get your point.
Are you telling me you never seen Deep Space Nine? All right, you're killing me here.
No, no, no. I love Deep Space Nine, but when the show premiered, I never had the question of why does this guy have a kid?
I mean, I'm not saying that I was watching it when it was premiering. My thing was when I started watching the show, I had come off of watching Star Trek shows which were like space adventures, and none of these
Mm.
people, except for Crusher, had like kids. And then Worf sort of, but he was a terrible parent, so really didn't notice. Um,
Sure.
but like, I'm just saying, like to see the lead with a family,
Hmm.
it just seemed like, well, how could this be interesting? How could a space hero with a kid be at all intriguing to me as a young man watching a sci-fi show? And it 100% was. And I feel like that's what I'm feeling here is like they're throwing this. How could this superhero with a family be interesting? But I feel like they might know what they're doing based on this first episode. And I think that they are going to take us to some interesting places, or at least try to. And
Definitely.
I'm willing to give them a shot because you know, I watched the Superman cartoon when I was a kid. That was an awesome show, and I watched Smallville because when we were younger, you young people don't understand, but when we were younger, that's really all we had was
Hmm.
Smallville.
In terms of
And,
superhero, anything
yeah,
really.
that show lasted forever. That show
It
was on
did
for
10 year,
decades,
10 years, I think. Yeah.
10 years, a decade. And it tried it all, and it did some really, really bad choices,
Hmm.
and did some really, really fun things, and gave us
But it
some
was what
really
we had.
interesting things.
Yeah.
It probably made me the maddest of any season finale of any show I've ever seen, except for
Yeah, I was
maybe
not a fan of that
Battlestar
either.
Galactica. Series finale, I was so mad. I was
Uh,
like, I hate everything. I hate the round. Um, But yeah, no, it's all we had, and now you got have this huge number to pick from, and that's what I was talking about before. There's so many shows out there to spend you know 10 hour no it's
A lot
How
of
many shows
time.
are active right now? One, two, three, four, 6 shows. DC CW shows, 6 shows.
Um, well, I don't know.
So
I
let's
was
just
not
say that
prepared
six
for that
hours.
question.
Let's say each show has 20 episodes this season. Uh, that's 20 times 6. That's a lot of hours of television to devote to this one corner of the superhero verse. When there are so many other great shows out there to watch, even maybe new superhero shows. I'm not saying we're going to get something as great as The Gifted or Legion from over at Fox, but um, with the introduction of the Marvel mutant universe into the MCU and into Disney Plus, there might be some really interesting stuff coming forward in that vein as well. Along with shows like WandaVision, which are spectacular in their own right.
Mhm. And that's why this show, right?
And that's why this show, which I was really excited about. I love the fact that they're taking sort of a mix and match approach where you get like a family of supers.
Oh no, I meant your
Um,
show. This show right
this
now
show,
that we're
this
doing.
show. Oh, okay,
This show.
we're
Your
here to
show.
talk about superhero shows, but all shows. We're here to talk
Right.
about shows.
Exactly.
Uh,
So all the
exactly,
exciting shows that are out and yet to be is why you
exactly,
wanted to do
and
this.
here on all the spoilers.
Mhm.
And here on all the spoilers, because I feel like that's what we should be calling ourselves these days. Um, yeah, all the spoilers. What did you think? Do you have any other thoughts on Superman and Lois that you wanted to get into real quick?
Well, I did make a couple of quick notes during while I was watching it. First
Sure.
off, I loved the shout out that they did to the original Golden Age suit.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was great. My mom made
Right.
it for me. Best line. Thanks. My mom made it, and he delivered it like Superman.
Yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
so.
Barnes is such a perfect casting for Supergirl. Hutchinson, I feel like, is such a perfect casting for
I don't
Superman.
know
It's
why they
just so
have to do the
perfect.
stubble, but I guess they want to make everyone, hot for Superman.
Sure.
Yeah.
Uh, the biggest thing that I had is why. So this is a new. Okay, huge spoilers for the end of the
I told
two-hour
you, this is
premiere.
all the spoilers. That's
Hmm.
what the show is. So spoil away.
What is up with this new Lex?
Oh, you mean the supposed Lex at the end of the episode, who's the villain, thinks
Yeah,
he's a villain?
Captain Lex or Commander Lex
Do you,
or
do you
whatever
want
that
to
the
know?
ship
Do you want to
calls him.
know my theory?
Sure. Yes. Yes, please.
I I'm not gonna say this is what's gonna happen 100%, but I feel like he is. I feel like they're cribbing something from my one of my favorite DC Universe shows, Krypton, and they're
Okay.
gonna find either that this is a Lex from the future, a Lex that's either his son or grandson or great
Mm.
grandson or something further like that, or he is from another Earth. Like he is going to be the Earth 2 or Earth Z
That makes
version
sense.
of Lex. I definitely feel like he's not Lex Luthor of this universe, of
No,
this
and in fact, this
dimension.
Superman has met the Lex Luthor of this universe, and that ain't
Yeah.
him. So,
He's got to be some kind of parallel Earth or future Lex.
yeah,
Um, that's what I'm thinking is going on here. They come back in time to
you're probably right.
change the future for his family, or come to this universe to change the future for the Lex
I mean,
family
there
and
was
take
that
over the Lex.
line about him being the last survivor of his world, right? Now, that could either be another
Well,
universe that
that's
was
that's why
destroyed
I'm
in a
thinking like it's
crisis,
the
or the
future.
future, or something.
That's why I was thinking it's the future Earth, and he's the last human, and he's gone back in time to stop Superman from I don't know
Okay.
whatever ridiculous contrivance that Superman. It might be his
Superman takes over the
children,
world.
or it might be his children. whatever Lex's come back in time to stop. I think that's what they're going with that.
That makes sense. I bet you're
I
right.
think the effects were fantastic. It was
Oh,
very much,
definitely.
it felt like Superman fighting Iron Man there. Pretty neat.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job with
Oh,
that.
they clearly spent. I mean, not only did they put episodes 1 and 2 back to back so that it was the length of a movie, but they clearly put the thought and expense of a movie, a small budget movie, but still a movie into this, right? I mean, the special effects, the
Yeah,
shots, all it was so cinematic.
yeah. We talked about the CW DCU, but at the end of their crisis, we, the audience, learns that there's still a multiverse
A
out
new one,
there.
yeah.
Although in the inverse, they don't learn that. So,
Well, Cisco
so
kind of figures it out.
I'm wondering if that this his introduction, this other Lex's introduction, will help will sort of explain that there is still a multi. You know what I mean? I wonder if this is
Interesting.
the on road for us as the CW
Audience, or
viewership to
yeah.
start learning that there is a larger multiverse still in existence. I don't know. I'm just
I
wondering.
love all of these theories and hypotheses, but there's only one way to find out. For
By
sure.
watching. This is
Exactly.
why I hate listening. You people out there God love you for listening to us sit here and speculate on what you'll just be able to find out by watching next week's episode. Because I personally hate things like this. I hate when someone sits there and goes, "What do we think we're going to break down from this story that we saw?" Because it's there's no reason to do that unless you're sitting there with your friend chatting about it, um, uh, like we are.
Mhm.
Because no matter what you think is going to happen, it doesn't really matter because whatever is going to happen is going
Right,
to
you'll find
happen.
out eventually.
Yeah,
So,
you'll find
yeah.
out eventually. This is why I don't like to watch trailers for things or learn who's going to be starring in the next whatever call it, because if it's going to be a Star Trek movie, I'm most likely going to watch it anyway, or if it's going to be a superhero movie, I'm most likely, or an action or a science fiction movie. If it's going to be something else, and I will look at the actor or the director, it looks good, or the story, blurb sounds good. That's about it. I stay away from anything that tries to spoil trailers, all that stuff. Stick with it, watch it, try to grab it from a place of I don't want to say total like like ignorance of what's going to be happening, but just to be as open as possible to what could potentially be the story in front of you. I prefer that myself. So, God love you all for listening to us drone on about this.
Thank you
I
so
really
very
liked
much.
it. I think it's. I'm giving it like 100% on the premiere episode, which not all of my favorite shows have gotten on their premiere episode. I will say that 100%. Some shows have to grow into it. Some shows start right off hot and go down in quality, whereas others, Game of Thrones, whereas others, um, they maintain quality.
Copy, copy.
This show, I hope, starting strong. I feel, and I hope it continues to maintain quality. What do you think?
I have a feeling it will. And speaking of hoping that it maintains quality, if it ever had any quality to begin with, do you want to
You mean?
segue us out?
Well, thanks for watching all the spoilers because we spoiled everything we could possibly think of for you. If you're wanting more spoilers, will let you know about WandaVision spoilers in another episode.
And what can they
And
do to
and
stay,
if
stay
you
current?
want to hear any of this nonsense, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you don't miss we're thrown out. Thank you. And for the Fizza and Era, have a good night.
Night!
What's your sign off this week?
The same as last week. You all come back now, you hear? Is that better?
You
Is that a
hear?
better southern accent?
That was terrible, but I still keep trying.